This Volkswagen Atlas isn't all new, but you can't tell by the looks of it. What's up, folks? I'm Dave Underkoffler, editor-in-chief of Autolist.com, back with another one-week test drive. This week's victim is the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas. It's been refreshed for the model year, and this full-size three-row crossover now packs new styling on the outside, new tech and screens on the inside, and a new engine under the hood. So is all that going to be enough to top rivals like the Honda Pilot, Toyota Highlander, and Hyundai Palisade? Let's go spend a week with this and find out. All right, let's start with a walk around of this refreshed Atlas. Big changes to the exterior. This generation has actually been around since 2018. It also got another refresh back in 2021, but for 2024, a nice, clean, elegant look. I really like what they've done with the styling here. You've got a light bar kind of running all the way across the top there, and then that integrates into the daytime running lights and the blinkers, so that's pretty cool. We've got 21-inch alloy wheels. We're testing a fully loaded R-Line model, so that what you see here is about $54,000. Comes standard with all-wheel drive. Base models, that's an SE with front-wheel drive, is about 39 grand. All-wheel drive is optional on that one. Will be about 41 grand with the all-wheel drive. Moving to the side and the back. I don't love that horizontal light bar. It's kind of chunky, but otherwise it's a clean look. It's pretty elegant, right, for a three-row crossover. These are fake exhaust tips there, so give it a nice look, but definitely not functional. And then, as I mentioned, it is a three-row crossover, so tons of space inside. This is one of the larger three-row crossovers in its class. So you can see that's the third row. I'll show you space and whether adults fit in there a little bit later, but let's fold those down. These fold flat. I like that they're not power folding. Power folding seats take forever. It's just easier to have manual adjusted. So yeah, low load floor and just tons of room inside here. Again, we'll get into the specifics of the interior space a little bit later, but this is a very spacious crossover. So there we have that. Close this up. So what do you guys think? Do you like the styling of this Atlas? Do you like the changes that Volkswagen made for 2024, or do you prefer something else in this segment? Maybe a Hyundai Palisade, Kia Telluride? Let me know in the comments below. All right, now turning under the hood. This is another area where Volkswagen made some key upgrades for the 2024 model year. Previously, the Atlas came with either a turbocharged four-cylinder or a V6. Both of those are now gone. In their place is a single option. It is a new turbocharged four-cylinder. It now makes 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Base models come standard with front-wheel drive, with all-wheel drive being optional, while the rest of the lineup does come standard with all-wheel drive. It can tow up to 5,000 pounds, and the fuel economy rating on our fully loaded all-wheel drive version is 19 miles per gallon in the city, 25 on the highway, and 21 overall. All right, now to the interior, and this is another area where Volkswagen made some really big changes to the 2024 Atlas. So we'll start down here. They did away with this traditional shifter. In its place, you now have an electronic setup. So this is pretty easy to use. You pull it down to put it in the drive, you push it away from you to put it in reverse. Park is right there. And then this is the vehicle on-off button. That opens up more space down here, so that's pretty cool. Up here, this is an all-new screen, 12-inch screen, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. Show you CarPlay. Very bright screen, very crisp. It's also very quick to respond to your commands, so that's pretty cool. But I will say, this is one of my bigger gripes with actually the entire vehicle overall. If you've seen our videos before, you know I like physical buttons. There are no physical buttons here. So for the volume, it's a touch-sensitive slider right here. And then for the temperature, you've got one over here for the driver and then one over here for the passenger. That's pretty frustrating, especially if you're driving and you're trying to keep your eyes on the road. You have no idea where in this panel you're touching. Volkswagen's gotten a lot of heat for this. They use a similar setup in the ID.4, that's their electric crossover, and their GTI, but they still insist on using it. That's really frustrating. Also, there's no fan speed, right? You want to turn up the fan and you've got something on this screen. Well, you either have to hit this button here, that brings you to the climate control, or down below there's a button that says Clima. So you bring that up and then it shows you the full climate control and then you can adjust. But again, you're sort of still using a screen. So that's a pretty frustrating setup. Otherwise, the rest of the screen is pretty good, like I said. Pretty intuitive menus. We'll go back to the main. We've got navigation here if you don't want to use Waze or Google Maps. But yeah, nice screen there, minus this whole setup here. And then here, all models have a 10.25-inch digital display here. This is configurable, so you can change the view. You can put a maps view up there. some other configurable options. That's pretty cool. I like that customization. And again, this is standard on all trims of the Atlas. And while we're talking standard, actually a lot of features are standard on this Atlas. That includes heated and cooled seats, a heated steering wheel, this screen here, and then faux leather seats on most trims. We're in a fully loaded R line, so we actually have real leather on our seats. Very comfortable seats, nice bolstering on the side. And then again, our R line has some nice trim here, sort of wood grain built in. We've got a big panoramic moonroof there. And then you can't quite see it. They never show up on camera, but there is a heads-up display as well. So overall, quiet, comfortable interior. You do have some smartphone charging down here, wireless, a pair of USB-C charge ports. You can cover all that up. And then we've got more storage in here. So yeah, good interior. I really do like it. It's comfortable. I love the standard amenities, but yeah, this whole setup right here, really frustrating. All right, now let's take a look at second row space in the Atlas. If you've seen our videos before, you know the drill. I put the front seats where I would have it if I'm sitting up there. I'm 6'1", so basically I'm sitting behind myself. And as you can see, there is a ton of space here. I mentioned earlier, this Atlas is one of the more spacious 3-row crossovers in the entire segment. So if you're looking for space, definitely put the Atlas on your list. I mean, this is just like limousine type of room between myself and the front seat for my legs, my feet, my knees. Headroom is great as well. Other nice features that I like, we have our own climate control setup back here. Again, we're in a fully loaded R-Line model. We also have heated seats for both of these outboard seats. And then some other features, it's very easy to slide this seat. That's kind of nice if there's gonna be somebody tall in the back. So I like how easily you can do that. You also have a recline function, so I can get a little more comfortable, maybe take a nap. All right, now before we show you that third row access and how to get back there, I wanna show you one of my favorite things about this Atlas, and that is you can keep a car seat in this second row, move this seat out of the way while that car seat is still there. Obviously, you're not gonna wanna do it with a kid in there because they'll get smushed, but the fact that you can fold this seat out of the way without collapsing it to get back here is a huge plus, and that is very rare. Most of the competitors in this full-size 3-row segment, this seat sort of collapses in a way that doesn't allow you to do that. So to me, as a parent, if you're gonna be using both this seat with car seats and then this seat for little kids or even adults getting back there, this whole setup is a really cool feature and definitely one I think parents are going to appreciate. All right, now we're going to take a look at third row space and just how easy it is for adults to get back there. As I just mentioned, this seat is already folded. There is a car seat there, so I love that it's that easy. We'll close this door, fold this back, and wow. That's a lot of room. This is really cool. Tons of room for my legs, my knees, my feet. Headroom is a little tight if I sit up real tall, but it's not a deal breaker at all. Yeah, this is impressive. I also like that the floor back here is really low, and that's a good thing. It means that my knees are not too close to my chest. I'm not all scrunched up. Some of the competitors to the Atlas, that is the case. Not so here, so you do have quite a bit of room. So yeah, you could have 3 rows of adults sitting all behind one another, and everyone's gonna have a comfortable seat. That's pretty impressive. Final thing I really like, it's so easy to get back out. There's just a switch right here. I'm not looking for some weird strap that's out of the way. This is right here, the seat's out of my way, and I can get out easily. All right, next up, driving impressions. And it's a bit of a mixed bag in this Atlas, but mostly good. So we're gonna start with the good, and that is the powertrain. As I mentioned earlier, this now has a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that replaces either the weaker Turbo 4 or the V6. And it's a really good replacement. I like the power in this Atlas now. 269 horsepower is more than enough. There's also not a lot of turbo lag, and that's when you put your foot down on the gas, and there's a bit of a pause before it gives you meaningful acceleration. Some Volkswagens have had that in the past. It doesn't have it in this Atlas. So I really like that. You're really not at a loss for any power. So definitely impressed by that. I also like the way the transmission works in concert with this engine. It's a very smooth, seamless connection between the two. So overall, I'm really enjoying the powertrain on the revised Atlas. But like I mentioned, it's not perfect behind the wheel. My main gripe there is the handling. It just feels sort of numb and sort of vague. This is a large vehicle and it just kind of feels large. It doesn't handle as crisply as some of its competitors will. And those are all newer models, those competitors. I'm thinking about the Mazda CX-90, the Honda Pilot, the Kia Telluride, and the Hyundai Palisade. Those are all gonna feel newer, a little more engaged in their handling. This is the main area where the Atlas is starting to show its age. It just doesn't feel as crisp as those rivals. Otherwise, the rest of the driving experience is really pretty good. This is a quiet, comfortable crossover. There's not a lot of wind noise coming into the cabin. There's a little bit of road noise, but I would blame the larger tire and wheel combination we have on our tester. Visibility is really good. You can see outwards very nicely from the driver's position. And then every seat also, no matter where you are in the cabin, has a nice view outwards, so you're not going to be claustrophobic or maybe get car sick. So this is definitely a vehicle you could put the entire family in, go on a long road trip, and everybody's going to have a really comfortable time. All right, just one more thing I wanted to point out, and this is just such a head scratcher. It's kind of driving me nuts. This touch sensitive panel down here for the driver temperature, for the volume, and for the passenger temperature, it's not backlit. So when you're driving at night, I was driving at night last night, you cannot see any of it. And that is just so frustrating. I don't know if anyone at Volkswagen drives at night, but it's such an oversight in my mind. Yes, there are other ways to control it. You've got your volume control over here. And then to get to the temperature, you can go into the screen, but it's just such a silly oversight not to have this backlit. And the irony is they have this trim piece lit, right? So you know what model you're driving in, but nothing here. Volkswagen, what's going on? That does drive me nuts. All right, folks, there you have it, our 1-week test drive of the refreshed 2024 Volkswagen Atlas. Overall, we do like this crossover. We think Volkswagen has done a nice job keeping it competitive, even in the face of newer competition. That said, it's not perfect, particularly the climate control functions inside and the fact that they don't light up at night. But overall, if you are shopping for a 3-row family crossover, we really think you should add this Volkswagen to your list. So for reviews or listings of this Atlas or anything else you're shopping for, new or used, be sure to check out autolist.com. And before you go, like and subscribe to this channel so you can get alerts on all of our future updates. We'll see you out there.